The article begins by saying, In southwestern France, a medieval castle sits perched upon a rocky hilltop. If something is perched on another thing, it is on the top of it, but also on the edge of something, which in this case, as the article tells us, is a rocky hilltop. So it means on the top of a hill.
今天要大家来到这个 southwestern part of France， 这也就是这个法国西南方的一个城市。刚刚有提到这个 Carcassonne， 文章说这座城市 sits， 我们也可以用这个比较拟人化的动词来表示坐落。坐落在哪里嘞？在这个 rocky hilltop， 就是这个布满岩石的小山丘的边缘。常常我们会看到这个外国的城堡都会在这个山壁边，居高临下，差不多就是这样的地方啦。Before we go on,we should probably tell more for our students what medieval means as well.
Okay, sure. Something that is medieval is from the Middle Ages, so that's between the 5th and about the 15th centuries, and generally it refers to Europe during that time. So we're talking knights and castles and swords and bows and Game of Thrones, basically, but without the dragons or the ice monsters.
Medieval 就是中古世纪的，我们常常看到这个字前面有个 med 开头，就是有中间的意思。说到这个 medieval， 相信大家都可以想象，像刚刚 Pat 老师有提到，像是骑士啦、城堡啊、弓箭等等的。Here, more about the castle.The article says the old walled town around it, called the Cité de Carcassonne, looks like something from a children's storybook.
Yeah.
Pat, I know what a wall is, but I didn't know it has past tense.
Well, it's not really a past tense, it's an adjective. We have the ed to make it an adjective. So a walled town, this is a town with high walls around it, a bit like castle walls, basically all around the city. If you think of Taipei, they have gates like Beimen and Xiaonanmen. They would have been parts of walls once, and the same is true of Hengchun in Pingdong County. That was a walled town.
在这里 wall 加上 ed 变成一个形容词，就是说这个被城墙包围住的，像是 Pat 讲到我们台北以前也是有东西南北的城门，不过现在可能只看得到北门和小南门。So Taipei was once a walled town too. 或是南部的这个恒春，基本上如果这个小有规模的城镇都会有城门围绕，保护城里面的安全啦。所以就讲到这座在山壁边缘的城堡，在外围的城镇就是今天的主角卡卡颂啦。It looks just like it's from a children's book. 看起来就像是童话故事里。
Yep, so we have this very old town and walls around it and a castle. And next we see that the site's medieval charm lures tourists from around the world to delight in exploring its walls, watchtowers, and cobblestone streets. The word lure or lure, L-U-R-E, means to get someone to go somewhere, often with the promise of a reward. In this case, the chance to look at, explore, and enjoy, or delight in, the old places.
接下来这个文章形容这个城市形容的非常美因为这个地方充满着中古风情 medieval charm， 因此呢 lure 吸引 or attracts, right? Many tourists.
Yeah, so a tourist, T-O-U-R-I-S-T, tourist is a person who travels to another country or sometimes to a different place in their own country for business or more often pleasure. You can always tell a tourist because they're looking at everything that you've stopped looking at, and they're taking pictures of everything.
Giant cameras.
Yeah, that's right. Taiwan gets a lot of tourists from Japan and Korea, and also from China.
因为这个特殊的环境跟风情吸引了很多 tourists all over the world， 世界各地的观光客。tourist 这个字我们看到前面有 T-O-U-R， 后面呢加上 I-S-T。tour 就是旅游旅行，加上 I-S-T 变成做这件事的人，就是观光客啦。所以文章提到这些观光客来到这里 to delight in exploring the city。delight in 这里是一个动词片语，表示以什么什么为乐。to enjoy the the old town， 就是以探险这个古老的城市为乐。How did this old city? How old is this city?
How old is it?
Yeah,
well, let's find out.
We'll learn that next. The article says the city de Carcassonne dates back to the 12th century.
We use the phrase dates back to show how old something is or when it first came into existence. In this case, we can say something dates back plus a length of time. For example, dates back 80 years or 800 years. Or we can say dates back to a particular point in time. In this case, the 12th century.
Date back to 这个片语啊，在介绍历史的时候非常常见。字面上的意思啊，就是把日期倒回到某个时期，意思就是追溯到点点点某个过去的时间。当然不会是这个刚过去没多久的时间。You won't say date back to yesterday.
Not really.
No. 当然啊，这个不会是过去没多久，通常就是有一段历史，我们才会特别用这个片语。比如说 These paintings date back to 11th century.
Yeah, the 11th century.
The 11th century. And are the oldest collections this museum has.
Ooh.
Next, we're going to learn about why it was built. The article says it was used by the French to defend the border between France and the Kingdom of Aragon until 1659.
Yeah, we've got a few words to look at here, and the first is defend, which is spelled D-E-F-E-N-D, defend. To defend something means to protect that thing from harm. It's slightly different from protect because it's more active. A helmet protects your head, but it just does that by itself. While to defend something, you need to resist an attack or actually be a bit more active, like, ha, defend Winnie. And yes, while a castle can't technically move, there would be people there who would defend the castle, and this combination of men and castle defends the French border.
Defend 是防卫、防御，当做动词，跟保护的意思很接近。不过 Pat 老师刚刚有特别强调，保护呢，我们是很直觉会想到 protect， 不过 defend 呢有更主动的意思，像是安全帽会保护我们的头，不过安全帽并不是主动保护，它设计来就是这样的功能。但是啊，如果有敌人入侵的话呢，就会我们的军队啊，可能就会 defend the country。你也可以是正当的自我防卫啊，比如说 defend yourself. For example, the man claimed that he was defending himself when he took his knife out. 在文章上提到这个卡卡颂早期是用来 defend the border. So let's look at what a border actually is.
Okay, the border. A border is spelled B-O-R-D-E-R, border, and it's the line where two countries, states, counties, or other areas meet. It's not a real line, and you won't see it in the real world on the ground unless someone builds a wall there or marks it somehow. Sometimes a country's border is the sea, while at other times it's just an area where you can say, oh, this bit is France, that bit is the Kingdom of Aragon.
一边是法国，另一边是亚拉冈王国，这样你猜到 border 的意思吗？ border 就是边界，比如现在最夯的话题应该就是 the U.S. government is talking about building a wall on the border so that no one can illegally cross the border.
A lot of talk, no wall.
所以越过边界呢，也就是 to cross the border. By the way, what is the Kingdom of Aragon?
Well, it is part of Spain these days, but it used to be independent. Aragon was a kingdom in northern Spain, and as we saw, one of its borders was with France.
Interesting to know. Next, we see that the once powerful fortress has a double row of walls that are over 3 kilometers long and feature 56 impressive watchtowers. Wow, so it was really defending the castle well.
It was very good. So a fortress is a strong castle that is supposed to be used for war and defense rather than just as a place where a king and queen live. Fortresses have strong walls, they have towers and so on. Now a watchtower is a high tower where people can see out all over the countryside around it and spot when enemies are coming.
没错，这个卡卡颂其实是个很重要的堡垒。不过这个堡垒很特别哦，它不是 它只有2层城墙，就是你攻进1层呢，还没有到城内，还有1座。所以啊，这个除此之外，卡卡颂还有56座的瞭望塔，这个就是 watch towers。一样，我们可以拆成 watch and tower， 就是这个高塔拿来看远方，像 Pat 老师刚刚有提到，可以看到敌方啊在何处，甚至其实在制高点还可以拥有比较好的防御力。That's actually very well thought too. We also learn more about the fortress. The historical town was named as a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1997.
That's right. Now, if something is historical, H-I-S-T-O-R-I-C-A-L, historical, it's something to do with history, or it is something that belongs in the past. So here we're talking about the first meaning. The town has an important history and was built many years ago, so it has a lot of historical importance. Because of this, it was made a UNESCO World Heritage Site. So that's the United Nations group. UNESCO is a group that they mark places as being important to history or culture, and that helps to protect them and make sure they don't disappear.
啊，一样 Winnie 又要来猜字了。Historical 有没有隐隐约约看到前面有个 history 一样的开头，后面呢有 cal 结尾，这是形容词的意思。所以呢 historical 这个字呢，形容词就表示与历史有关的、历史上的。比如 The Legend of King Arthur is actually based on several historical figures.
And a lot of made-up stuff.
这个亚瑟王这个角色其实不是历史上的真实人物，但是也不全然是虚构的，它其实是根据好几个历史的人物 historical figures。合在一起的形象。那这个文章只是说，这个历史城堡在1997年在 UNESCO 联合国教科文组织列为这个世界遗产，因为非常具有历史意义啦。So that's why we use the phrase named as, right?
That's right. To name something as something is to give that thing a special title or position. We've used the passive voice to show that Carcassonne was made a heritage site, but it's not really important who did it. It's the action of naming it that's important, not who decided to do it. And anyway, we already know that it was UNESCO.
So A be named as B， 这个啊就是可以直接讲是，或者是你当成主动 UNESCO named the old town as a World Heritage Site in 1997。联合国教科文组织就是把这个古老的城堡选为世界遗产。And of course, the article says these days it attracts over 4 million visitors every year.
That is a lot. Next, we see that the town's picture-perfect design has had a broad influence on popular culture. Now let's look at the phrase picture-perfect. It's today's shortcut for you. So let's take a break here and watch the video to explain the phrase.